Imagine living in a world where you no longer feel shackled by the opinions of others. Few truly grasp the life-changing power of having the courage to be disliked. This isn't about defiance or arrogance, it's about freedom. A freedom that allows you to exist authentically, without constantly bending to meet someone else's expectations. Most people spend their lives seeking approval, striving to be accepted, and avoiding criticism at all costs. Yet the paradox is clear. The more you chase external validation, the further you drift from genuine happiness. The idea is radical yet simple. True happiness requires the courage to live on your own terms. It's a mindset shift that transforms your relationships, your goals, and your self-perception. To take this step, you must recognize that worrying about how others perceive you only feeds unhappiness. By letting go of that need, you unlock a sense of freedom that changes how you see yourself and your place in the world. From an early age, societal conditioning teaches you to associate approval with self-worth. Praise feels like an affirmation of your value, while criticism cuts deeply, leaving a lasting mark. Over time, this external feedback loop shapes your decisions and actions. Rather than living authentically, you adjust your behavior to gain favor. Approval becomes a currency, earned by aligning with others' expectations. Yet this pursuit is unfulfilling. The moment you fail to meet these standards, doubt and insecurity creep in, leading to a cycle where your happiness depends entirely on others' perceptions. The problem with seeking approval lies in its conditional nature. It depends on factors like achievement, appearance, or personality traits, qualities that may fluctuate or fall outside your control. Meeting these expectations is challenging, but the competitive nature of societal standards makes it even harder. Someone will inevitably surpass your efforts, raising the bar and making your accomplishments feel less significant. This environment fosters inadequacy, as though your worth is constantly being measured. Instead of fostering connection, you become trapped in a zero-sum game where the success of others seems to diminish your value. Beyond the exhaustion of constant comparison, approval seeking also undermines personal freedom. When your self-worth is tied to others' opinions, you relinquish control over your life. Every decision becomes a calculation. Will this please them? Will they approve? In striving to meet these imagined standards, you suppress your true desires and identity. The result is not only a diminished sense of self, but also strained relationships, as the need for validation can breed resentment and inauthenticity. Ultimately, the endless chase for approval leaves you disconnected from yourself and isolated from others, making true happiness almost impossible. Seeking approval doesn't just limit your actions, it reshapes how you view relationships. Many believe strong connections rely on sacrifice, but this often creates a transactional dynamic. Sacrifice implies giving something up with the expectation of receiving something in return: gratitude, admiration, or effort in kind. When those expectations go unmet, frustration and resentment can take hold. The problem isn't the lack of recognition, but the belief that giving must yield rewards. This mindset undermines genuine connection, turning relationships into conditional exchanges instead of mutual bonds. True relationships flourish through meaningful contribution, not sacrifice. Contribution focuses on what you offer to others without expecting anything in return. It shifts giving from an obligation to an act of fulfillment. When actions stem from a desire to positively impact others, the burden of expectation disappears, and relationships feel more authentic. This perspective allows you to engage in giving without constantly measuring its outcomes. Ironically, when recognition is no longer your aim, relationships often strengthen naturally because sincerity becomes the foundation of your actions. Focusing on contribution instead of sacrifice frees you from the constant need for validation. It helps you find fulfillment in the act itself, rather than in others' responses. This approach not only improves relationships, but also builds your sense of self-worth. By detaching your value from external approval, you become free to give genuinely, without resentment or ulterior motives. The illusion of sacrifice fades, revealing a simple truth. The strongest connections are built on unconditional contribution, not on the exhausting pursuit of validation or balanced exchanges. The moment you recognize that trying to please everyone is futile, you take a significant step toward reclaiming your personal power. People will always have differing opinions, and not everyone will appreciate who you are or what you do, and that's perfectly fine. Your worth is not determined by external judgments. It exists independently of them. Clinging to the belief that you must continually prove your value only adds unnecessary stress and gradually chips away at your confidence. Instead, shifting focus to the unique qualities and contributions you bring to the world opens the door to a more authentic and fulfilling life. You hold intrinsic value simply by being yourself. It's not about achieving grand milestones or standing out through extraordinary accomplishments. Your presence, your interactions, and the small, thoughtful ways you impact others are more than enough. Embracing this perspective allows you to stop measuring yourself against impossible standards or comparing your journey to others. This shift fosters a deeper appreciation of your existence and helps you view others as allies rather than competitors. By letting go of comparison, you create space for genuine joy and self-acceptance. When you fully embrace your unique value, life takes on a different rhythm. It stops being a relentless pursuit of external validation and becomes an opportunity to live authentically and purposefully. You start to appreciate the ways in which your individuality enriches not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. Recognizing your worth enables you to navigate relationships and challenges with confidence, knowing that your value is unshaken by fleeting opinions or outcomes. In this state, you become free to celebrate your strengths, embrace your imperfections, and enjoy a sense of contentment that no external validation could ever provide. Living for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. It means aligning your actions with what truly fulfills you, rather than what you think others expect. Happiness doesn't come from meeting societal benchmarks or earning approval. It stems from living a life that resonates with your personal values. This doesn't mean you disregard others, but rather that you stop defining your worth by their standards. When you live authentically, you gain clarity about what truly matters. Your goals align with your passions, your relationships become more genuine, and your sense of self deepens. The courage to be disliked isn't about dismissing others. It's about prioritizing your freedom and authenticity. By doing so, you'll discover that the right people will value you for who you are, and the opinions of others will no longer dictate your happiness. The choice is yours. Live under the shadow of others' expectations, or step into the light of your own authenticity. The courage to be disliked is the key to a life of fulfillment, one where you live not for others, but for yourself.